the company saying it expects the field to return to production in the next few days. So that just coming through from Link Energy to the ASX in the past few minutes or so. All right, for some more on what to expect at the Open in under an hour's time, we're joined now by Stan Shamu from IG Markets in Melbourne. Stan, great to see you. Yeah, interesting moves on markets overnight. It was quite interesting to watch, wasn't it, in terms of the weakness in equities, and yet at the same time, you know, there was the moves in the euro and those Spanish bond yields. I mean, what did you make of it all? Is it really just, I guess, an analogy we were hearing a little earlier about really investors at the moment are just standing at the bus stop waiting for the buses to pass?
Good morning, Brady. Yeah, no, absolutely, you are quite right there. Obviously, the main theme driving markets in recent times has been hopes of further stimulus by some of the major central banks, particularly the US, obviously the ECB and China. So it does seem like some investors are starting to think, hang on, we've really built up quite a bit of expectations ahead of all these key meetings that are coming up. There is also some room for disappointment. I mean, just in the US alone, most analysts are saying it's a 50-50 chance of further easing. So that alone is enough to balance out the winners and the losers. So we are seeing markets relatively in that holding pattern. Obviously on the European front last night, it didn't help to get that UK construction number falling short, coming in obviously around 49, expected about 50, so that didn't really help anything at all. We had jobs numbers out of Spain, unemployment still around 25.1%, with joblessness rising 38,000 over the last month. So that really was more of a seasonality factor as well. Obviously, with their summer coming to a close, generally what happens is some contracts, tourism related, come to an end, and that generally spikes up around that time. We did see that euros move lower. It drifted from around 126.2 to around 125.8. So the moves were very much mixed overnight. Obviously, the euro has been supported since Monday by Mario Draghi's comments just regarding buying bonds with maturities of up to 3 years, and that really did pop up a bit of confidence. But overall, it does seem like there's a bit of repositioning ahead of tomorrow's press conference. Obviously, there's the interest rate decision as well, where they're widely expected to cut tomorrow. So there are quite a few factors at play. We also have obviously the US jobs numbers on Friday, expected to be really the main point of reference for the Fed to make its decision about quantitative easing next week.
So, given all of this then, what's IG Markets' opening call for the Australian share market this morning?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, US markets also returned from their Labor Day holiday, and we did see them come off their lows and finish mostly flat, and that is a minor consolation for our lead going into today's session. We are looking at a 0.1% drop to about 4295. So there's nothing really much in it. Obviously, that 4300 level has been a key level for the market over the past few sessions, and we could continue seeing that level hold. So it's a relatively flat open. Obviously, the key sector to watch out for at the moment is the mining sector. We've got BHP called up actually about 0.8% to about 31.77. So that should be interesting to see if they can hold on to those gains, considering iron ore prices dropped yet again overnight, trading at their lowest level since October 2009. So that, together with some of the comments we've had from Fortescue, for example, yesterday, who cut that capex figure, and obviously there's also talk that they might need an additional about 1.7 billion in extra funding for some of their projects. It might be a very interesting coming sessions for the iron ore space.
Absolutely.
We also have the Aussie dollar. Obviously, it recovered yesterday after the RBA statement, but it faltered around 1.028. Dropped all the way back to about 1.022 this morning, and I think just before I came on, it was starting to slip below 1.02. So it will be an interesting session for all the risk assets. We've got the GDP figure, like you were talking about before. That might not have as big a bearing on the Aussie dollar, but we'll also have jobs numbers tomorrow. So we'll really have to wait and see and assess all this information coming through and see what bearing it might have on the RBA going forward. Obviously, the main change in tone that they had was regarding global concerns. So that will be a main factor, obviously, for whether we get another rate cut or not, although most market participants are still thinking we'll get one more by the end of the year.
Stan, really appreciate that. That's a great wrap to set us up. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Roy.
Stan Shamu there from IG Markets. Well, mining magnate.